Wow. Hello. Yep.
Hey, good morning!
Good morning.
It's the Dream Warriors.
Hey.
Untitled episode.
Yes.
Netflix. Another Netflix winner.
Another good one. Rebirth.
Wow, I kind of feel like we don't have any updates.
No, yeah, we just kind of went with one and done on that.
We woke up. You had a nice little slumber there.
I did, yeah. I slept pretty good.
Nice little sleep.
What time did you get up?
Maybe 7ish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I watched the movie again. I watched the movie twice. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, look, throughout the week, crazy week, I was trying to get time to refresh myself on some of these movies, and so Rebirth was when it was almost the same as the latest movie we discussed. My Name is King. Or
yes.
Message from the King, yeah. Message from the King, to where a couple minutes in, I knew it was like a good movie for like both of us. So this was a very similar thing. So what happened was that I kind of knew where the movie was going. So I kind of, like wasn't really focused for maybe like the first like 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like doing other things, and I didn't want to, I don't know, cheap it.
Yeah.
So you were really like crashed out. So I was up and, yeah, cracked open the laptop, rolled Netflix, put on the headphones.
Nice. Yeah.
And went through the movie, like not entirely. I maybe skipped like the first 30. So
Okay.
I watched like the last like hour and 15
Which the
minutes.
first 30 isn't really too important anyway.
No, I mean,
And you kind of...
it's good for a setup. You know what
Yeah.
type of setup it is. You know where it's coming. So like to me, to sum up the plot of this, right? We're not dealing with anything complex.
No.
A guy with the perfect life
Yep.
gets visited by a college friend.
College friend, yeah. Long lost friend.
Okay, that references a manifesto that he wrote. That they don't go any deeper into that. You know,
No.
they only reference that he wrote this thing, and I guess the manifesto had a nature of kind of Fight Club-ish.
Yes.
Being
Yeah.
anti-establishment, living life to a certain to certain terms. And it would be like your terms of like freedom, and being
It's
outside.
like not losing track of who you are.
Yeah. And not losing sight, losing sight because of societal constraints. So social conditioning, we'll say. So this is something like as soon as I kind of saw where this movie was going, I thought like it's almost like good for us, right? Like this is almost like what's happening here. Like this is almost like a good definition movie. Not as good as Fight Club.
No.
Because Fight Club has such a big idea behind it that it's hard not to have that be the ultimate version of this type of movie. And plus, Fight Club has a different presentation of that this type of movie is.
Yeah.
But
although it is somewhat similar with the in terms of like the self-help, like utilizing that.
It definitely this definitely is like a self-help, self-improvement, self-discovery type movie. There's a movie with Kirk Douglas, directed by the same guy that did Fight Club, David Fincher, called The Game.
Okay.
And this is very much like The Game. I would say this would be like a low-budget version of The Game. Now, the problem with like a lot of these movies that they have, and it's a logical leap, but I'm willing to dismiss it because I like the point of the movie more than anything.
Yeah.
It's that like how many people are really involved in this thing, because like even this, he's bumping into seminars, but you find out that the seminars are part of like the game. They're part of like his rebirth, and they're deconstructing like him.
Yeah.
But what if like he didn't bust through that door?
Yeah.
Like, what would happen, like, if he went through, like, another door or took another turn? Like, and that's where it's a leap, but at the same time, it's like, I like the end, like, I really like where this goes, and I like that our protagonist is a social media guy. He's a social media content developer, which is so relevant today, and I thought that was, like, a smart, good little tag. We got some of that morning breeze coming in. You feel it?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Feels good.
It is, yeah, it feels nice.
Mornings in Philly, but Chris, I'm dribbling here. Any thoughts on the Carl Mueller film. This is his second film too. He did a movie called Mr. Jones in 2013
Yes.
that I'm not familiar with. I
Yeah,
don't know,
neither
I don't
am
know
I.
if you are, but
No.
he's a young guy, right?
Yeah.
Young dude, another young Hollywood movie. I'm curious about Mr. Jones. I kind of want to watch it. A young couple moves to the woods and soon finds their nightmarish and reality colliding. You know, again, too,
Yeah.
that sounds like a very stereotypical movie, but I think this guy has nuance to it and layers.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So tell me your thoughts, Chris.
I liked it. I from the get go. I mean, I thought that the plot was somewhat predictable going into it. Like it was pretty easy to figure out where it was going to go.
Yeah.
With the being scammed. As soon as he dropped his phone into the thing and they weren't showing him where he was going, I was like, hey.
And yeah. and I think like at the end when he escapes. Like I'm like, this is a gotcha. Like he's not really escaped. Like it's still there.
Yeah, he's still in that world.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's I think these movies. There's a movie called The Invitation that's also on Netflix. There's a lot of these movies we're watching that are essentially remakes of other movies, but they're younger filmmakers and they're able to update these movies in a particular way. And in such a fashion that you're interested in it because the guy is involved with social media and the Rebirth people are interested with their outreach and you need a social media expert. You know, like, and they're almost like tap rooting and networking through people's like phones and contacts and who they personally know.
Exactly, yeah.
Adam Goldberg, who I love, who's his friend in this,
Yeah, he's good.
Love Adam Goldberg ever since Saving Private Ryan.
Yes. Yeah.
Where he's the Jew that gets killed by the Nazis.
The Jew.
The Jewish boy. That's my really bad accent. But yeah. So yeah, I cut you off there.
No, that's quite all right. I liked the idea that they manipulated him by taking over his finances and using that to leverage to take money from his company and as well as making him the front man of the whole scam, like you said, with the social media aspect of it, that he kind of uses his influence to get a wider reach and expand this cult / giant ripoff, giant scam.
I mean, they set it up to where it is it is cultish. So here's the thing: if you ever got into like Scientology and Dianetics,
I never have. I know you mentioned you.
I mean, look, it's stuff like I dipped my toe into that pool. So a lot of their like videos and their promo videos that they have at the end, even the graphics and the way that they're like. Even like I want to say they just duplicated Scientology. They found them, duplicated them, and we're just going to like do our version of them. Even right down to like the positioning of some of the graphics, like the logos in the background and stuff.
Yeah,
it seems to be a commentary on Scientology, but it's really not.
Okay,
like it's not at the same point because but the way it's presented. Like is the same way how Scientology like presents itself, which is like this like immense self-improvement, this immense growth. The way it does like the commentaries about like Ted came in and Ted was really scared, but now like Ted has grown. He's such a like when they went into the video at the end. Which I think was a fantastic way to wrap this movie up.
I think that was the best ending.
I think it could, because it just it jumps and you discover things like the wife's involved and stuff like that.
The fact that they take the whole family, the
kids are involved, So but I think this like walks the line and it's not too critical of like Scientology. I don't think it really attacks it. I don't think it does anything about like the practice and the recruitment because the recruitment for this is so comic book, it's so fantasy, but at the same time I'm like it's just interesting that people are like absorbing because like things like Scientology and look, these people live in Hollywood, they're like around it, okay, but at the same time it's not really like trashing it because like something like Scientology still has a reach. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's helped more people than it hurt. And you can say that about like any religion / cult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you and I were maybe talking about this last night, unrelated, but cults end in death.
Yeah.
Scientology easily is not a cult. Like, it doesn't end in death. It's a practiced idea, religion. It's a way of life with yes and no's, with guess and checks. And at the same time, like, I like how this movie kind of just like skimmed the surface. But kind of made you like, wow, like maybe Rebirth does work. Like, by the time you were done watching the video,
you're almost like, man, I want to try my Rebirth.
Maybe I need some Rebirth.
Yeah.
And
if it wasn't a scam, I would definitely be doing it. Well, now, so you don't think that was like a cut at Scientology for the way they portrayed it? I mean, I don't necessarily think so.
No, I don't think, because here's the thing: to pick up on it, you have to be familiar with Scientology. Like you just like you have to be familiar with Dianetics and Scientology, and unless you like, so at the end of the day, they're emulating how effective Scientology is in its messaging, and they're proving how effective it is. Yeah, like more than anything, And look, imitation is a form of flattery, and I would say from that standpoint, this movie, there's been like other movies that say the same thing. That are like, there's a movie called The Master. By Paul Thomas Anderson, the guy that directed Boogie Nights and Magnolia. Yeah. So he did this movie called The Master. We should actually watch that because it's Joaquin Phoenix. Okay. And C. Thomas, the guy that died of heroin. That's in Boogie Nights and.
Seymour Hoffman, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the L. Ron Hubbard type character.
Oh, okay. And he's a good role character for that.
And we have two like incredible character actors colliding in this movie, and the movie like walks the line of exactly like what's happening, but it's more about the story of like Scientology in or out of the master. This is a movie about a guy surrendering himself to another. So like realizing he has to know he's nothing in order to get reborn. Oh, okay. And the Maester and this movie have the same type of like theme, which is you surrender yourself, you give up yourself. Once you the monks in Fight Club, when they start Project Mayhem and they're on the porch, it's they bring those people down to nothing. Like, you're too fat, you're too old, and they stand outside for 3 days and 3 nights, and then they're accepted. And that's what the monks do. That's a Tibetan monk move. Yeah. So bringing yourself down to zero, that's where you're able to like reboot yourself. Same as like if you work on computers. I work on computers. Like sometimes when the quickest way to fix a computer problem is to rebuild it. Yeah. Like, hey, you have a virus. Okay. Well, do you have your Windows installation CDs? I do. Okay. We will rebuild your machine. We won't try and we will not save.
This one is not worth saving. Broken. Yeah.
We will rebuild it, and usually rebuilding it saves so much more time, especially.
Time wise, yeah, it's a.
Especially with Windows 10. Shout out to Windows 10.
Win 10. Win
10's my boy. But anyway, Chris, tell me more of your thoughts about this movie.
I think it was good. I think that it's very relatable in the sense that what they use against him, using his finances and stuff. I know I was kind of mentioning this before. They use his finances to leverage them, and I think that is definitely relatable for the general public. You know what I mean? To think if someone were to freeze up or take all your funds, everybody would have that same gut reaction, right? And kind of be in a place of trying to recover from there on out. You know what I mean? They keep them.
Yeah. Well, I think that the point with the money too is that it's you surrendering yourself. Yeah. It's like the Fight Club. Like, you are not your job. Like, you are not the things you own. Yeah. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, that's everyone has that. Everyone is defined by that. I mean, one of the reasons I was looking so forward to moving was to like bring a hatchet to a lot of things I owned and just kind of like scale down and even like reboot myself. That didn't happen, but that doesn't mean I'm still not scaling down. Yeah. But we only go up. We only scale up with Dream Warriors.
That's right.
But no, I think this movie is, again, it's fantastic for people to watch. I think it's another big movie for Netflix. It's a small, big movie, and it's well told. It's well directed. It's does what all of these movies do. There's like angst and anxiety as you're watching it. It's hard to watch sometimes because it's frustrating.
It is.
And I like movies that kind of reach into your like gut and do that to you. I think that the guy that's in this movie was fantastic. The guy, I don't even know his name. Do we know his name? The guy
who directed it?
No, the guy who stars
Fran Kranz.
Kranz, yeah, as Kyle. Awesome. I thought the women in this movie were beautiful.
Yes, yeah,
One,
they did
like one by one, really good casting with the chicks. Like holla to the casting agent.
Yes.
But it's really.
I love how they played on the sexual desires too. With the, like, well, what do you want? It's like the whole time you're thinking, you know what he wants,
right? I know what he wants.
I know what he wants.
I know what I hope I know what you want. Like I hope he knows what I want.
Yeah, come on, man, read my mind.
Yeah, and it's just, and that's again, like there's logical leaps that you have to make in a movie like this, because if he doesn't answer questions a certain way or take certain courses, it doesn't really move forward. Like it doesn't project. It doesn't like. So it's but this is no different than like some heist movies and some crime movies where, like, the scheme, or some like con artist movies where like the scheme's so intricate. Like, how would it ever work if one little thing went wrong?
Yeah.
Like all the ocean movies are victim to that. There's a Nicolas Cage movie called Matchstick Men.
Yes, I know that one.
And Matchstick Men is so exact to like how it wraps up at the end. You're like, if one little thing went wrong, like along this, like we would not be here. And and that's a big criticism of the Star Wars episodes 1, 2, and 3, where like the Emperor is like, who's introduced in like the first one as like a senator, like, for his like the way how he ascends to power, it's almost like, all right, like this is one hell of a scheme, like this is one heck of a manipulation for him to become the emperor of like the Senate. And I'm like, holy crap, like it's so complex, and if one of these things doesn't happen, he doesn't get the empire, or like, and whatever. But it doesn't matter. Like, look, you make concessions. It's a roughly a 90-minute movie. I mean, like, what do you want in 90 minutes? Like, do you want a full deconstruction of this guy's like psychosis? No. I think this movie moves the chain and makes points. And I think it's the importance of an audience member to accept those points and to move on, because like that's why we're watching. We're watching it for a point of view. And I think this movie, if there's a point to this podcast today, this morning, is that's your takeaway. Like, pay attention to the points these filmmakers are doing. Pay attention to the intent. Don't just think you're like an audience member and you have to be like outsmarted or whatever. Like there's a dialogue here that they're projecting to you, and like I think a lot of times people just they go high horse, they go highfalutin, and they have to be amazingly impressed every step of the way when they watch movies. And I even liked how this movie had that maze, where it was like, again, like small budget filmmaking, where they're essentially in like a warehouse, and they built the walls to make it look like another facility or whatever, but they're essentially like in hallways and in rooms for a chunk of this movie. And again, amazingly effective.
They were able to use a lot of the same like set type thing.
And I don't know, like I think they again like used their money wisely. Good cast, great acting. You got some hot ladies. Do I have to say it again? You got some hot ladies in this movie, people.
Hashtag lit.
Hashtag hot ladies. But anyway, so I'm just rambling here. I'm sorry. I just get pumped over self-help stuff. Like, I love self-improvement.
But see, and it's funny how it's people's perception of these things is different, like Scientology and stuff like that. The not knowing, you know what I mean? It's kind of looks, very cult-esque, like you said, but cult ends in death, and it's not, you know what I mean? It's more of a self-help type deal. But there's a lot about Scientology and that kind of world that I do not know a thing about,
Well, I don't think
besides but see, that's another thing too, is that it's very secretive too, parts of it.
Well, I think they're secretive by default, because people do want to like tear that stuff down, and they want to tear it down for all kinds of reasons. And look, it's not like you can just walk into a church like walk into like a church and just start like doing things. There's like even a process for you to get into a church. Sometimes some of them you even have to be like nominated by fellow church members. Like you have to be accepted into it. So like like what club, like just call it a club, like what club wouldn't like have that procedure? Like like it's not just like it's like, hey, we have to be secretive to manipulate people. Like that it's counter to human behavior. Like there's no way that would work.
Yeah.
Like
no, I mean, look at all the secretiveness in like the Catholic Church and other things. You know what I mean? There's big.
Yeah, I think
big religion that
I think there's like
the same thing.
there's like a little bit of a barrier to entry with some of it, and I'm fine with it. You know, like look, people can do whatever the heck they want to do. That's it.
Nice.
But just doing a quick social
little
media.
IG, little social media.
So speaking of social media, does anyone here have a social media account?
I do.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're just taking social media pictures right now.
He's biting the mic.
Like biting that ass. But yeah, so I don't know, dude. I would highly recommend this movie. I think it's a good experience for people.
Yeah.
And I think it helps open the mind.
It does. Yeah. It kind of, yeah.
Do you have anything else to add? Before we, shout out to our filmmaker. Right? Shout out to
Carl.
To Carl, yeah. Shout out to Carl. Carl. Writer director. Shout out to him because I really Carl did a fantastic job. Carl, hopefully you will tune in, but give yourself a self high five. The IMDb gives this movie 5 out of 10, which is totally erroneous. Where are we with Rotten Tomatoes? I hate even having to think I have to go through these ratings. Yeah, hold up here. For some reason, I couldn't go back to my Google search. What are we doing with computers? Let's just do Rebirth Netflix. Quick search. Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie 27%.
Wow.
Tomato meter not even available. I don't get it. So there we go. Let's just go through. Here's the guy from Variety. The pitfall of a tantalizing setup is that it requires sterling payoff to match. A recipe for disappointment born out of Rebirth, whose premise establishing early passages led only to underwhelming revelations. A boring, unfunny attempt at satire, Rebirth fails on every narrative, structural, and cinematic level. See, I don't get the those are just platitudes. So your two negatives are just one of the two is negative. Chaotic plotting and infuriating characters make this unconvincing and ludicrously far-fetched film to sit through, though it's almost worth it for the Kevin Crane's hairy chest. Okay, so we're just dealing with a snarky, I hate reviewers. It's you're fucking snarky just to be snarky. You're not telling me anything about the movie. Why is it slow? Where does it break? Give me the details. Let me know what is happening. But no. But anyway, we will. We don't care, right? Against the current.
Yeah, we got
Dream Warriors against the current. Yeah. Recommending this movie. Okay. Anything else to add for a second time?
Follow me on Instagram, DOCWATSO.
Hey.
Or Facebook, Chris Watson. Wherever else.
Before we get out of here, kid, you got a 30-second story for AKAPAD 13 on Instagram?
Yes, I do. Let's do it.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
One day back in August, I was driving past this guy. Me and my dad were driving past this guy that was parked in the middle of the road. I told him to get out of the street, a-hole. And he ended up following us and trying to road rage. got out of the car, came at me with a hatchet, and then ended up getting back in his car and hit me with his vehicle, with his Jeep.
That's the Chris Story second story, kids. We're getting out of here.
Later.